Hello, this is Matt Bradley-Tschirgi. We are taking a look here at I'm going to rank every single damn Mel Brooks movie using this tier at Tier Maker. If my camera is not working for some reason, I just did a Windows update, so hopefully that'll fix itself. If not, too bad. But if you have a question about Mel Brooks, feel free to ask, and we will I'll go through this list on my merry way. I've been in a Mel Brooks mood. I did a video recently on Spaceballs 2 that he has that'll come out in 2 years in 2027. So I thought, why not do one just ranking all his feature films to date? And it's fewer feature films than you might think that he's directed, and he's also has writing credits on those and producers credits, all that stuff. And he's one of my favorite filmmakers. Some of these movies I haven't seen in a while, but I have seen all these movies. And if you haven't seen one of these ranking things before, the way it works is S is this is inspired by ranking on in Japanese video games, but S is the best, down to F, which is the worst. Hope for the best, expect the worst. I'll be singing a lot of Mel Brooks songs terribly, and we might as well go left to right in this board I found on tiermaker.com. So I'm Matt Bradley-Tschirgi. I am an author. I just came out with a book titled "The Films of Eddie Murphy" and Star Trek video games. I have one I'm working on that I can't be specific on, but it's about another beloved video game series that involves shooting monsters. So that's my clue for that one. But yeah, we're gonna be talking about Mel Brooks here, ranking these from best to worst in my opinion. So here we go. Mel Brooks' Life Stinks. This one is really hard to find. It a lot of these Mel Brooks movies, like in theaters, some of them did well. A lot of them did much better on video. But Life Stinks is one that maybe it's his most sincere effort. It, I think at this point Mel Brooks had a bit more of an ego, and he gave himself like a meaty starring part, and it's very old-fashioned and sincere in a way, like a lot of these films are. Very much feels like a 1930s or 40s musical, a 1920s musical. Like its heart is in the right place. Kind of a rag, it's a rag to riches story about a Mel Brooks plays this executive that, for plot reasons, gets fired, and then he's basically homeless. For Leslie Ann Warren is a hobo woman that he falls in love with. There's like magical realism stuff in there, and I like what it's trying to do. Unfortunately, it's not terribly funny. It's more sincere than anything. I like that he tried to do something different, that he wasn't really doing a spoof of a genre. I think Life Stinks is a good title for a movie. I just don't happen to like this film. So I don't know if I can give a Mel Brooks movie an F, because there were some good laughs in here. Um, I used to write on the newsletter for the Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast with Frank Santopadre, and a running gag on that podcast was, well, not even a gag, it was a true story, at least according to Gilbert, is Gilbert was up for a part of one of the hobos that's one of Mel Brooks' friends, and Billy Barty got the part that Gilbert Gottfried was up for. But to have seen Gilbert in a Mel Brooks movie really would have been something. Anyhow, I'm going to give this a D. I'm not sure I can rank any Mel Brooks movies lower than a D. That's more of a failing of me being a mega fan of Mel Brooks. But this one, if you're a real completionist, watch it. It's usually not free on a streaming service. Um, is it worth the $4 to rent if you've seen everything else? Like, I guess. But this one is just a real letdown. So I'm giving this a D. So we're moving on to next. This is not in chronological order, just the order that happens to be on this list here. So the producers, Mel Brooks' first movie. Like most of his movies, it has... Actually, I think nearly all of his movies, except for Dracula Dead and Loving It, have a musical number in there with lyrics that Mel Brooks does the sonata music for. The producers was Mel Brooks's. He got a nominee for best screenplay for this. I don't believe he won. That's a good point. But anyhow. Oh, and if you like what you see, have any Mel Brooks movies, feel free to chat along. Or if you like what you see, also give me a follow, share the links, all that fun stuff. So yeah, the producers, I would say, is an S. It is one of Mel Brooks's best I've seen on Broadway. I got to see it, not with Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, but with the cast right after that. So it was Steven Weber and um, Peter Bart, who's a really famous. Oh, is that a? That might not. That might not quite be the name, but it's a really famous Broadway actor. Nathan Lane's understudy essentially played the Nathan Lane part, and Steven Weber is from Wings and was also acted with Mel Brooks and one of the supporting parts in Dracula Dead and Loving It. And the producers is a really good satire on not just how to finance a Broadway play, but the entertainment business. Gene Wilder is so convincing; it's scary as the kind of panicky writer, and Zero Mostel, one of his great parts on film as Max Bialystock. Just solid film. I mean, do some of it seem dated? There's a character called like LSD that's very funny but very of its time. Um, but I think it's a really sharp satire and a good kickoff to Mel Brooks's career. And it proves not everything he did was. I mean, this is spoofing Broadway. I guess I should take that back. A lot of what he did was spoofs of other stuff. But also, I mean, his best movies have a heart and have characters that you care about, and they have an arc and they go through a journey, and these things kind of change. So there you go. Silent movie. Oh come on, there you go. I think is maybe one of Mel's most audacious films, as you can tell from the title. It's a silent film, except for Masaru Maso, a famous mime, says one word in the whole movie and it's called No, otherwise it has intertitles. This is Mel Brooks getting a bit more artsy. There's a lot of slapstick. I know Roger Ebert liked this film a lot. I think this has its moments, but overall is below average. Like some of these, I like more of what it's trying to do than what it actually does, if that makes sense. It's the old phrase, good concept, poor execution. I give Silent Movie a C. It is still funnier than a lot of other comedies. Dom DeLuise is very, very good in this. More so than Mel Brooks, who kind of hams it up more than normal. And yet, that's what we have. Um, we have these damn advertisement things, but we'll take care of those. So move on to more movies. Oh, come on. Boop. I need to drag this stuff without a million ads on this platform. There we go. Excuse me. I'm just trying to drag and drop these things. Okay. What have you. The S is cut off. So sue me. Okay, so we have... I just have to do the gymnastics with the mouse. Fantastic. Mel Brooks's History of the World Part 1. This recently got a sequel as a Hulu series, several decades later, History of the World Part 2. This is a sketch movie, but it does go chronologically through the different time periods up through the French Revolution, then eventually it ends with a fake trailer for History of the World Part 2, which actually was made, as I just said, on Hulu, and has really funny bits like Jews in space and whatever. History of the World Part 1, it's like a lot of these sketch films, it's like it's on again, off again, but unlike Monty Python's Meaning of Life, each sketch is such great production design and is kind of long that if you're not feeling it, you're going to be stuck with it for like 20 minutes, right? Like these sketches are kind of on the longer end. I love like the Spanish Inquisition numbers. The Inquisition, what a show! The Inquisition, here we go. Stuff like that is very funny with Gregory Hines. The French Revolution stuff. It's good to be the king. Mel Brooks is having fun playing both the piss boy and the king. There's good stuff in here and good costumes, and these look like the legitimate historical epics and time periods. They're trying to spoof. Like Mel Brooks plays a lot of parts in this, and him as Moses, where it's like here's the 15, and he drops one. 10 commandments. There's solid bits. Head to toe, is it the best movie? No, but I think the funny stuff outweighs the not as funny stuff. So I'll give this a B. Blazing Saddles, right. The Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein both came out in the same year, which technically, which just at least if you go by the LA and New York releases, which just blows my mind. I mean, what his best stuff. And yet, if I'm thinking best of the best, if I'm being critical, I would give Blazing Saddles an A and not an S. Cleavon Little is great. It's hilarious. I think it loses a bit of steam towards the ending that breaks the fourth wall, which a lot of movies have ripped off since then. And I think there's just not quite enough material here for a solid movie. This got a TV series called Black Bart with Louis Gossett Jr. in the lead that didn't last very long, but it's an extra on some of the DVD or Blu-ray versions, I think. So good to know. I'll give Blazing Saddles an A. Pretty good. He makes fun of the westerns, the baked beacon scenes, Mongo, really good. So we're gonna go down to Spaceballs. Spaceballs is probably the Mel Brooks film, depending on your age, most people would have seen. On video, this did phenomenally well. Watching it again as an adult, it's cute. There's a lot of jokes that work. It has, they did study the Joseph Campbell mythic structure, beginning, middle, of an end. I like, there's a quote, I'm paraphrasing here a bit, but when George Lucas uh, read the script or saw an early cut or something, his feedback, and it's actually really smart, is what's good about Spaceballs is it works as an adventure story even if you take out the jokes, which is true. And then in some commentaries and interviews since then, Mel Brooks has said, I think we concentrated too much on the story in Spaceballs instead of the gags. Regardless, we're getting a Spaceballs 2 in 2 years. They better film Mel Brooks's as Yogurt pretty soon because he's 98. But Rick Moranis is coming out of retirement for it. It's going to have Bill Pullman, Daphne Zuniga. The ones that are still alive from the old one are back. Really, really excited for that. And Spaceballs, opening shot where it's the huge Star Destroyer that takes like 2 minutes to go over the whole screen. A lot of good gags. It does, like a lot of comedies, it tends to drag, especially with kind of the shorter sketch-based stuff. But Rick Moranis is really, really committed as Darth Helmet. John Candy is very good as Barf, the Mog. He's half man, half dog. He's his own best friend, as the joke goes. And it understands the assignment. It could stretch a bit further than it does. I would rank this equal to History of the World Part 1. Dracula Dead and Loving It. I saw this in theaters. I'm old enough where I could see a few of the Mel Brooks stuff in theaters, but not much. But as a very little kid, I saw Blazing Saddles and Super, and Young Frankenstein, very influential movies, right? So Dracula Dead and Loving It. Leslie Nielsen is the lead. He wasn't supposed to be Dracula. Originally, they had a British actor cast. I can't remember who it is. There's different names that have been bandied around. And the British actor dropped out at the last second. They got Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen, even though he got like a second career doing comedies after Airplane and Police Squad and Naked Gun and all that stuff, he made the mistake of not playing the jokes like flat, or not being dry with the jokes, instead being like, isn't this funny, and wriggling eyebrows. And the humor just never works as good when you're doing that. Despite, the supporting parts in this are very good. Steven Weber is funny. Amy Yazbek is great. Kind of doing a different part, but, being both sexy and funny like she was in Robin Hood Men in Tights. As Maid Marian, she is Mina Harker in this. I believe it's been a while, but something like that. One of the female characters. Peter McNichol as Renfield, excellent. I wish it would have had a different Dracula, and I think there's one or two really good sequences. I think a C is fair, on par with Silent Movie, maybe a little bit worse, but I can't put it on the same level as Life Stinks. I think Dracula Dead and Loving It is better than Life Stinks, so sue me. High Anxiety. This is one that the more you know about film history, the more you know about Alfred Hitchcock, the funnier it is. Does the story work on its own? Yeah, but I mean, if you're seeing what this stuff spoofs, of course, it's funnier. Mel Brooks is playing a lead and has a musical number all by himself, and it's a bit of the ego of the actor coming in, I think, of him having such a good part. And yet he's, of course, really very good in this. Whether it's, there's like kind of the insane asylum, you have a lot of funny gags throughout. It's obviously with the title High Anxiety. A lot of this is a spoof of Vertigo, but there's spoofs of Psycho and other Hitchcock stuff in here. I would give High Anxiety. Would it be an A or a B? I think an A because I think with like the birds jokes, it does the thing an ideal Mel Brooks movie should do, and that it aims both high and low with the humor. So yeah, just solid picture. Young Frankenstein, absolutely an S, no question. This is my favorite Mel Brooks film, 1,000%. It is just the beautiful black and white cinematography. They even reused some props from the Universal James Whale Frankenstein movies that a collector had that still worked, that Mel Brooks got permission to use for the movie. Gene Wilder helped in the script. And the thing that kills me about this is Gene Wilder wanted his follow up with Mel Brooks to be a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Gene Wilder in the lead. And to imagine what Gene Wilder would have done with that part, also with some humor in there. Uh, but I bet he would have been absolutely chilling as a Mr. Hyde if needed. Is really one of those lost causes. There's a script written for it, and Mel Brooks was like, "Yeah, I want to do my own thing. I want to do silent movie or whatever the next one was," which is a bit too bad. That's one of those lost projects I wish would happen. But yeah, Young Frankenstein, just superb. It's funny whether you've seen Frankenstein or not. The putting on the Ritz sequence, of course, is great. Just excellent stuff. Robin Hood Men in Tights. Other than Dracula Dead and Loving It, this is one I saw in the theater. And Carrie Elways is really great in the lead, coming off of Princess Bride not that many years before. And he also was in, I think, the first Hot Shots film. He had done some spoof comedy stuff before. So yeah, Robin Hood, Men in Tights, The Legend Had It Coming. A bit of trivia on this is in the mid '70s, Mel Brooks was a creator of a series called When Things Were Rotten. That was a Robin Hood kind of spoof series, and some of those jokes are even used beat for beat in Robin Hood Men in Tights. And of course, this coming out after Robin Hood Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner and stuff. This is very funny. Has a young Dave Chappelle. Good cast. A lot of some unknowns. One of which would weirdly play Robin Hood in a later series. But there you go. It's good. It's not great. Um, some good cameos. Isaac Hayes, Sir Patrick Stewart. I would say this is about equal to Spaceballs. I'm tempted to make it a bit above, but I don't think this is A-level material. I think B is fair for Men in Tights. So there you go. And this last one, The 12 Chairs, is one I think it might be the least seen Mel Brooks film. It's based off a Chekhov story. This has been made as a film in Russia and elsewhere several times before. Mel Brooks smartly gives himself like a supporting part, again playing like a kind of schlub kind of character. Dom DeLuise, Ron Moody, Frank Langella is really miscast as one of the leads. He seems to be having a fun time as a good-looking actor, but he doesn't quite get the comedic stuff with the vibe it needs to be for this kind of movie. All that being said, Mel Brooks' The 12 Chairs has I get very sentimental watching this movie. I'm not sure if it's the score by John Morris or what it is, but the opening theme, Hope for the Best, Expect the Worst, which I was singing a bit earlier, is quite good. Uh, I would say I would say this is an A, just because I think the ending of it works. Like it's a good movie. It's silly. Some of it is kind of all over the place. Dom DeLuise plays a very foppish character, but it's in a way that one, you have to consider when the movie was made, but two, like it's not being a caricature to be mean about it. I think it's also a real character in and of itself. And this one, like Life Stinks, is a bit harder to find, but unlike Life Stinks, 12 Chairs is worth checking out. So, what do you think of my ranking of the Mel Brooks movies? Comment down below if you like what you see. Please give me a follow or subscribe depending on the platform you're watching this on. And if you like my books, you can check those out at matwbt.com or go to Amazon and look up Star Trek video games books, and you can see my Star Trek video game unofficial book and see links to the other ones there. Hope you like what you saw, and I'll be back later to talk some movies. Bye.